Jimin was reportedly rushed to a military hospital in the early hours due to a drastic decline in his physical condition. A big question then emerged. What exactly happened to the idol? And why was Jungkook, his fellow division mate, seen crying while accompanying Jimin to the ambulance? This information didn't appear in official broadcasts or government media, but came from trusted internal sources within the military. They stated that Jimin, who had shown high spirit and exceptional endurance from the start, had recently been experiencing severe fatigue, persistent dizziness, and a sudden drop in blood pressure. Our source stated that these symptoms had lasted for almost a week, but Jimin continued to push himself to follow the full military training schedule without exception. He even refused the medical rest leave offered by the unit's health team. That decision wasn't out of stubbornness, but from a sense of responsibility to his fellow division mates, especially Jungkook, who was always by his side during every training session. Jimin's condition finally peaked on Monday night at 11:47 p.m. local time, when he collapsed on the training field after an intense physical session. His comrades initially thought he just slipped, but when Jimin didn't get up and appeared to lose consciousness for several seconds, the situation immediately turned into an emergency. The instructor called the medical team, and within 5 minutes, a military ambulance arrived to take Jimin to the hospital. What made it more emotional? Eyewitnesses said that when Jimin was being carried into the ambulance, Jungkook, who is known for being very tough and emotionally reserved, could no longer hold back his tears. He stood by the stretcher, tightly holding Jimin's hand, and was seen wiping his tears with the sleeve of his uniform several times. Some soldiers who witnessed the moment said the atmosphere was completely silent, as if time had stopped for a moment. We had never seen Jungkook like that. Even during the hardest training, he never showed weakness. But that time he cried. He truly cried, said one of their fellow division mates. Jimin briefly regained consciousness inside the ambulance, and in a soft voice, he only said, "I'm okay, just a bit dizzy." But the medical team took no chances. They immediately brought Jimin to the nearest military facility for further examinations, including an EKG and 24-hour blood pressure monitoring. This situation, of course, sparked great concern among ARMY, BTS's Fandom. Although there was no official statement from Big Hit Music, the hashtags #GetWellSoonJimin and #ProtectJimin instantly became trending topics worldwide on the X platform, formerly Twitter, with over 2 million tweets in under 4 hours. Fans demanded transparency regarding Jimin's health condition and urged the agency to prioritize the members' well-being above all else. A military doctor who wished to remain anonymous explained that Jimin's symptoms were very likely caused by extreme fatigue and prolonged stress. The combination of physical military demands and mental pressure due to their public status can lead to such conditions. If not treated promptly, it could develop into systemic collapse, he said. Jungkook himself, after escorting Jimin to the ambulance, was reportedly asked for permission to stay at the hospital with him. But that request was denied by military superiors in order to maintain strict barracks protocols. Nevertheless, Jungkook was said to be continuously asking for updates from the medical team every hour through official channels and was unable to sleep the entire night. One of the officers overseeing their barracks admitted that night was the quietest he had ever experienced while on duty. Usually after night training, there's some small talk in the rooms. But that night, there was not a single sound. Everyone was silent, as if they were praying for Jimin in their hearts. The next morning, the atmosphere in Division 5 was still gloomy. Jungkook returned to the barracks with swollen eyes. He didn't say much, just lowered his head and immediately joined the morning lineup without a single word. His fellow soldiers understood that not all sadness needs to be explained with words. A few hours later, news from the hospital stated that Jimin's condition had stabilized, but he had to undergo intensive observation for at least 3 days. This meant he would temporarily be excused from military activities until fully recovered. The military is also reportedly considering the possibility of temporarily transferring Jimin to a special health unit for recovery. This is not without reason, considering Jimin's status as a global public figure, as well as the importance of maintaining the psychological well-being of the entire unit, so as not to be disturbed by excessive concern. Big Hit Music has not issued an official comment, but industry insiders indicated they are preparing a statement to ease fans' worries. Many hope Jimin can return soon in a healthy condition, as his presence means not only something for BTS, but also for millions of people who see him as a source of inspiration and motivation. This incident is a harsh reminder that behind the popularity and glittering achievements, BTS members are also ordinary humans with physical and emotional limits. They are not robots who can keep giving without rest. And that night, when Jungkook's tears fell, the world knew that their friendship was stronger than just a professional bond. It's a true brotherhood that cannot be replaced. However, at this point, we all need to pause for a moment and ask ourselves, did this event truly happen as reported? Do all that we see, hear, and read really reflect reality? Or is it merely part of a grand scenario designed to stir emotions and attract public attention? It's important to realize that most of the narratives circulating come from TikTok video clips, posts on Twitter, now X, comments on YouTube, and articles from various digital media whose truthfulness cannot be fully verified. Even though some snippets of information seem visually credible, we still have to ask, who first spread this news? Is the original source clear and trustworthy? Or did this information originate from anonymous accounts that cannot be held accountable? We live in an era of fast-moving information, where a single image, a sentence, or even a facial expression can be interpreted in many ways by the public. In this context, a crucial question arises. Have we become victims of a digital illusion carefully crafted to create a specific perception? If so, to what extent do we realize that this perception could be completely wrong? Therefore, it is important for all of us to reflect again. Is the narrative stating that BTS's Jimin received a surprise visit from a mysterious woman at the military base truly verifiable? Or could it be a form of emotional and visual fabrication aimed at increasing view counts, clicks, and public attention? As a society increasingly accustomed to living alongside technology and digital information, we must not take every piece of news at face value. We are obligated to ask, has this information gone through a legitimate verification process? Does the media spreading it have a good reputation for delivering facts? Is there an official clarification from the relevant parties, in this case, the agency or military institution, that can strengthen the truth of the incident? In this case, there is yet to be a single official statement from Big Hit Music or the Republic of Korea's military confirming the incident. No official documentation, no press release, no explanation from primary sources that can be relied upon. So, why is the public so quick to believe it? Is it because we want to believe it? Or have we become too accustomed to living in a vortex of viral information that isn't always true? This phenomenon highlights how important it is to foster a culture of critical thinking amid such a torrent of information. We must get used to asking deeper questions before trusting a narrative. For example, who benefits from the viral spread of this news? Is there a certain pattern in the dissemination of such information indicating a hidden agenda? Why do certain media outlets choose to highlight one emotional aspect of an event while ignoring other more rational or factual ones? These kinds of questions not only strengthen our intellectual capacity as readers, but also protect the integrity of digital public space from being polluted by hoaxes, speculation, and cheap sensationalism. We also need to realize that the public's emotional expectations of public figures like BTS's Jimin often influence how we absorb information. Some of us want to believe he received a touching surprise visit, that there's a heartwarming story showing the human side of a global star. However, the desire to believe often clouds logic and objective reasoning. Therefore, we invite all of you, dear readers and viewers, to reflect deeply. Does the emotion you feel come from the truth, or from a narrative illusion shaped by social media? Have you ever verified this information directly, or are you merely following the flow of collective emotion? How can we distinguish between reality and fiction that's packaged to look real in this digital world? Considering that all the information we've presented comes from various online platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and others, we firmly state that the truth of this information still requires further verification. There is no guarantee that every detail is accurate. Therefore, we feel responsible not only to deliver information, but also to build critical awareness amid this increasingly complex digital society. Amid the noise of the online world, skepticism is not a negative attitude, but a form of intellectual alertness.